I want to go to Sophie Elsworth now, the media writer for the Australian newspaper. Sophie, good to talk to you again. You've written a few stories lately that have leapt out at me as a watcher of the national broadcaster. It is extraordinary at these times when you've got all these ABC journalists sort of telling everybody else to stay home and stop whinging about lockdowns and whatever. They've actually increased their staff count and started spending more of our money on their own advertising.
Chris, what a luxury it would be to work for the ABC. Guaranteed paycheck, total job security, and then they're telling everyone, calm down and we must lock down and we must go harder. Now, the public broadcaster, we found, has actually increased their staffing numbers in the past 12 months. Now, their staffing numbers have gone up 120 employees. Now, Chris, this contradicts what we've repeatedly heard from Managing Director David Anderson about the staffing cuts and many of their employees moaning continuously that they're constantly getting cut, their budget's constantly under threat. Now, I find this really quite interesting that they're hiring people and increasing staff numbers when we're in a global pandemic and commercial news outlets are under threat and they've had severe impacts to their advertising dollars. But over at the ABC, they're all in la-la land and have no worries like that in the world.
Yeah, they've put the lie to their own complaints, haven't they? The other point, I started off the show showing how there's this ill-informed, dishonest criticism of the views about some of the crucial debates on vaccination and lockdowns that we have on this station, a variety of views. The ABC has patted itself on the back over its pandemic handling, but as we've pointed out many times, Norman Swan, their lead commentator on these issues, has so often been wrong and always on the alarmist side, scaring people.
Well, look, Chris, Norman Swan is the hero over at the ABC. He seems to have varying viewpoints that differ day to day, but we all forget about that over at the ABC and we just praise the man every time he comes out. I mean, his predictions along the road of this coronavirus pandemic have been wrong many times, but the ABC never highlight that. They treat him like he's some sort of hero, and the alarmism over at the ABC. I mean, the fact that a lot of their journalists, you only have to look at social media and they're calling for harsher lockdowns in Sydney. Now, that's all very well and nice for them. They get their guaranteed paychecks, but they're not like small business owners or families at home struggling to put food on the table. They've got their guaranteed salaries coming in regardless of what is going on there with the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, I listen and watch too much ABC for my own good, but there seems to be right across just this complete lack of understanding of how the real economy works. Small businesses, they feel, oh, it's okay because you throw some money to keep people afloat when their small businesses close down from it. They don't understand the life's work that goes into that and whether or not they worry about whether they can get it up and running again. The casual workers who go from a weekly wage to zip, they just don't see the incredible stresses and strains of all that, not just in a dollar and cents term, but in livelihoods and lifestyles.
Well, look, Chris, it's becoming a bit cultish over at the ABC in this view that lockdowns are essential, lockdowns must happen, and lockdowns must come at all costs. And I think the public broadcaster has a lot to answer for. They have very few differing viewpoints across their various channels on this. And the journalists that are parading on social media their viewpoints are often in the camp of harder, harsher lockdowns. And there's a lot of people out there, Chris, at the moment really battling at a time when the ABC is spending more money than ever on advertising and hiring more staff.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Thanks for joining us, Sophie. Great stuff. Sophie Elsworth, their media writer at The Australian. Just extraordinary, isn't it? Taxpayers' money being spent on advertising. I mean, they've got their own television stations and radio stations on online stuff. They could promote this stuff as much as they like, but no, they spend additional money on advertising.